one of the main challenges a cloud architect when it comes to building and managing cloud infrastructures is to make sure that these infrastructures are cost efficient, well architected, and secure. That's why I would like to work with you on the Azure Landing Zone Baseline that you can see here with the design and the Terraform code. So in this video, you will learn 3 things. First, how to use it directly from the template catalog, how to look at specific resources and understand how we have configured these resources, and how you can design and manage your own CI/CD workflow on Brainboard. So let's get started. So to use it, simply need to go to templates, look for Azure Landing Zone Baseline, and then to use it, you simply need to clone the template into a new architecture. So here, in literally 2 seconds, you can see the design and the Terraform code. You can also look at the README here with the description, the network topology, how to use the architecture, and also look at who are the maintainers. Now, you can find all your Terraform files here. For example, the main.tf. You can look at your Terraform code. Everything that you do on the design will be automatically reflected on the code. So for example, here, let's say that you would like to look at this specific resource, public IP. So here I select it, I see the code, I open the ID card, and then I can look at how we configured it. So here you have the required parameter, the advanced configuration, the extra attributes with the meta arguments of Terraform with the count, the depends on, and the for each. Now let's say that you would like to look at another resource, for example, firewall. Here you can look at the Terraform code to better understand it. Then you can open the ID card, and again, you can look at how we have configured this resource, and you can make all the modifications that you want. Here, as you can see, we have a RG hub and a RG spoke. So for example, instead of having all of these resources into one main.tf, what you can do is that you can choose, for example, RG hub. Then you can look at all of these resources. So you select them here. As you can see here, selected node 8. Now we have 9, 10, and then here, for example, what you can do is that you can group the resources in the same Terraform file. You create a new Terraform file, for example, RG hub, and then you save it. As you can see, here we have the main.tf, and we have the new Terraform file that we have created with all of these resources. And of course, we can do the same thing with the RG spoke. So now, what we can do is that we can look, for example, here at the provider.tf. To be able to customize this, you simply need to select the cloud provider. Here it's Azure. Then write your own custom Terraform provider block here. You configure it. Now you can look at the variables. These are all the variables that we have used. So here you go to input. And then you can see that we have created 18 variables at the architecture level, because you can also create your variables either at the organization level, project environment. Here, if you want to look at specific variables, for example, public key, you see that we have chosen this name, this scope architecture. Here is a string. You can choose your type as well here. This is the default and the description. For example, here, what you can do is that app gateway, architecture, string, default, and description, and you can also flag the default value or the value as sensitive. Here, you can also look at the remote backend. To configure it is very easy. Simply need to go here to data, and then you can set up your remote backend at the organization level, either for AWS S3, Azure Blob Storage, Terraform Cloud, or Brainboard backend. Now, imagine that you would like to use specific resources. Here, these are all the resources that you can use. For example, let's say that you would like to add an API management. Again, it's just an example. Simply need to drag and drop it here in the design. And then the ID card is automatically being opened here. And then I don't need to worry about knowing how to write the Terraform code. It's already been written for me here. So here, the golden rule of Brainboard is that everything that you do on the design will be automatically reflected on your Terraform code. So now what we can do, once we have looked at the design and the Terraform code and all of these files, what you can do is that you go to the deployment tab, and here you have two options. Either you want to do one action, meaning you want to do Terraform validate, plan, apply, or destroy, meaning Terraform commands, or you can go to the CI/CD designer, and here you can use all of these plugins. What you can do here is that you go to cloud providers and then you set up your own credentials. For example, here today we are working on Azure. Simply need to set up all of these specific fields, and then you will be able to do, for example, a Terraform command. So here we will do Terraform validate. So here we'll give it a name. Then here we want to do a Terraform plan. Give it a name as well. Then now we want to look at the cost of this infrastructure before deploying it. So here what we can do is infra cost estimation, API key, we give it here. Here we will do a breakdown. Now what we can do is that we can either send an email or specify our team by Slack. We send an email here, notify cloud FinOps. It could be a different team or a specific person. Here, for example, could be then at brainboard.co. Here, please check the cost of this infrastructure. So here you will receive an email. As you can see here, we have invited all of team members to join the organization. This is how you do it. Specify the email address, specify the roles, and then you can create different teams. So here we go back. Now we want to do a Terraform. So here Terraform, and then here TFSec. TFSec basically will scan your Terraform code to detect any potential vulnerability. So here is security check. Here ignore failure, and here we'll send an email to security team. Here we can use, for example, this email address. Here please check the security requirement of this infrastructure. We close it. Now we have used Terraform command, validate plan, infra cost, security check with TFSec. Now we save the workflow and we run the pipeline. So here, as you can see, all the tasks, we have the status. So here it's pending and here is scheduled. Initializing the backend. I already showed you how you could set it up. Here the success, the configuration is valid. Here it's pending, so we will have the output as well here. So we need to wait a little bit. So here, as you can see, Terraform has been successfully initialized. So here we will have the output. And here we have the output of the plan with 27 resources to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Now we have infra cost that is running as well. So here we will be able to have the cost estimation and the cost breakdown. So here, as you can see, the overall total cost of this infrastructure will be 1,942. So here we have the resources, we have the number of hours, monthly cost depends on the usage. So here we have the name, monthly quantity unit, monthly cost. Here they have received an email, so they will go to Brainboard to check the cost and optimize the cost for this infrastructure. Here we have failed for TFSec, We have 1 passed, 5 ignored, 4 potential problems detected. Here we can look at the result, critical. Why is it critical? What is the impact? What is the resolution? And we have here the documentation to help us make this infrastructure more secure. And here we ask our team member to go to Brainboard and check all of these security requirements and make sure that is actually valid. So here we have the status, the ID, the pipeline where did it fail, TFSec, the initiator, and the date. And now what you can do is that you can also convert this workflow into reusable templates. Once you have done it, then you will have all the templates here that you can use. So here, for example, let's say that you would like to use a new template. For example, this one, template that either you or your team member have created. Create a workflow from templates. And here, you can do that. So instead of you doing it again and again, then you can convert everything that you're doing into reusable templates for you and your team to use. Now what you can do as well is that here you can also create a pull request by using GitHub, Azure DevOps, Bitbucket, or GitLab. And then here, to be able to use them, you simply need to go to GitHub, and here you set up your credentials for Azure DevOps, Bitbucket, and GitLab. But just remember, as I've showed you earlier, you can also provision, let's say, your infrastructure directly from Brainboard by doing Terraform apply here. So I hope this video has been useful for you. And if you have any questions, as always, just ping me and I will be happy to help you build your own infrastructure on Brainboard. Have a great day.